Hello everyone, and welcome back to Fate Stay Night. Wow, I don't normally start my streams like that. Hello everyone, how are we all doing tonight? So, let me take a look at the flow chart here. I believe there is... yeah, there's like one potential bad end in what we're doing tonight. So, last time, Ilya kidnapped Shiro, and then Rin and Saber showed up to help him escape. So now we are running away from the Einsburn Castle through the forest. We are still in day 11, because day 11 is long. Alright, let's go. We go down the long hallway and pass through the gate. Unbelievably, the place really is a castle. An old castle hidden deep in the forest. This whole place is surrounded by trees as far as the eye can see, and neither buildings nor sky can be seen in the distance.
こっちよ。3時間もすれば国道に出られるから、それまで走って。
3 hours, huh? I honestly don't know if my body will last that long. The pain gets worse the more I move. The heat should go away if I rest, but we don't have time for that right now.
シロ、早く。
Tosaka sounds pressed as well. Tosaka's the one who gave Archer that order. She looks calm, but her mind is filled with regret.
分かってる。すぐに追いつく。セイバー、急ごう。
はい。急ぎましょう、シロ。
Answering and nodding, Saber starts to run as well. Making my way through the trees, I follow Tosaka. Saber is visibly breathing hard. I can't see in the darkness, but she must be in pain. I can't leave her alone any longer. Saber loses her balance. I grab her forcibly from right beside her as she falls to the ground.
ここまでだ。これ以上は無理だぞ、セイバー。
何を言うのです、シロ。この程度の苦境、今まで何度も経験してきました。私はまだ十分に走れます。
何言ってんだ。何度経験していようが、苦しいものは苦しいだろう。いいから、少しは弱音を吐けってんだ。
I pull at the arm I'm holding. It must be because Saber's light. I'm able to hold her up in my arms rather easily.
何をするのです、シロ。
何って、しばらく休んでろ。そんな顔で走られてちゃ、こっちが先に参っちまう。
無礼な、話しなさい。この程度で私が倒れるとでも思っているのですか。
Saber struggles in my arms, but her opposition is too weak. The arms that try to push me away are too small and too weak. That makes me painfully realize how weak she's become. I never thought Saber would be unable to push away someone picking her up.
何を考えているのですか、シロ。このようなこと、いくらマスターといえど許しません。
Saber is struggling with a bright red face. Well, certainly. The position she is in right now must be embarrassing for a knight, but now isn't the time to worry about appearances. Hello, Win! Welcome, welcome. We are currently running away from Ilya's castle.
嘘つけ。俺を振りほどけないぐらい弱ってるくせに、大丈夫なわけがないだろう。いいからおとなしくしてろ。マスターとしての命令だ。
How are you doing, Wind?
それでも聞かないって言うんなら、レージを使うしかなくなるぞ。
卑怯な。こんなことでレイジを使うなど、そんな無意を容認できるはずがない。
ならおとなしくしてろ。急がないと遠坂に置いていかれる。
Saber reluctantly falls silent, so she must have accepted it. That's fine for now. If she doesn't struggle, I'll be able to run while carrying her. My vision flashes on and off. Does my blood accelerate the more I run? Bearing the nausea in my throat, I run through the forest while gritting my teeth. I breathe wildly, but I hide my pain as well as I can. There's only one reason to do so.
シロ、下ろしてください。やはり私も走りますから。
Because if I look even a bit pained, she looks up at me uneasily. I can't stop here.
甘く見るな。セイバー一人どうってことないぞ。壊れたストーブに比べれば女の子一人分なんて空気みたいなもんだ。
ですが、
いいから黙っててくれ。ギブアンドテイクって言葉知ってるか？今まで助けてもらったんだからこれぐらいしないと釣り合わないんだよ。ここらで借りを返しておかないと明日から守ってもらえないだろ。
いえ、そんなことはないのですが、私の方こそこれでは釣り合いが取れなくなる。
そりゃよかった。じゃきついのは今回限りだな。がぜんやる気が湧いてきた。
I let out a huge breath and kick the ground. Tosca is choosing to go through narrow openings even though she knows I'm carrying Saber. It's fine because Saber is light, but following her takes all my effort.
ほら、喋ると舌を噛むぞ。黙っていてくれた方が俺も助かるんだから、おとなしくしていてくれ。
はい。それではマスターの指示に従います。
Saying so, Saber relaxes in my arms. It was hard to carry her before since she was unwilling, but it'll be easier now. Or it'll be a bit easier now. The problem now is whether Saber's body and my body will make it. How long have we been running? It feels like 30 minutes, and it feels like an hour. No, running isn't that bad. I haven't been training for nothing, and Saber really is light. But now... Inside, my body is messed up. I get dizzier the more I move, and I feel like throwing up. We're in a forest, so I would understand if I was bitten by a poisonous snake or something. This isn't pain that'll kill me. It's just that my chest feels heavy and I feel like throwing up. This is nothing compared to the warmth in my arms right now. Saber is closing her eyes as if asleep. She's not resting because she's relaxed. Her body is getting hotter by the minute. Even though it's winter, her body is sweating and she's hanging her head to try to hide her ragged breathing. A repeat of that night. Saber collapsed from using all her energy after using that sword on Ryder. Saber hasn't healed a bit since that night. Was her ability to talk now just a brief spark before she disappears? I run, trying to deny that. I don't care about my body. I just make myself believe that something will be possible if I get home, and keep running. I almost fall, and stop myself from collapsing by leaning against a tree. I can taste blood. So this is the cause of my nausea. I didn't spill it onto Saber since it was only a bit, but I still feel the cause of the nausea in my chest. Saber would be mad at me for a different reason if I threw up the contents of my stomach. Actually, I bet Saber would seriously try to cut me in half if I did that. Yeah, that's funny. Imagining a funny thing gives me some strength. Alright, I'm done resting.
いいえ、無茶をするのはここで終わりです、シロ。
Saber.
She wasn't asleep. Saber speaks in my arms.
なんだよ。終わりって何が？
ですから、シロは一人で逃げるべきです。その体では私を連れて行くことはできません。
そんなことあるか？ 今のはただ転んだだけだ。こんなの別にどうってこと。
あるわよ。そんな死人みたいな顔で何言ってるんだか。
Hey, Tosuka, who was leading the way, is back here now for some reason.
強がるのは勝手だけどね。いくら夜の森だからって口元の血ぐらい隠しなさい。それじゃあセイバーに心配されるのも当然よ。
Whoops. Tosuka glares at me. Saber must have noticed that voice.
よかった。リンがいるのなら話が早い。
Saber says so without looking at Tosuka.
でしょうね。セイバーの言いたいことはわかるわ。時間もないことだし、そこの大バカにもわかるようにさっさと言ってやって。
Saber nods.
はい。リン、私をここに置いていってほしい。私を連れていては逃げきれないし、何よりもう長くは持ちません。
I can't yell at her for saying such a ridiculous thing. I have no intention of leaving Saber. But still, I know well enough that Saber's condition is worsening. Saber won't last long. I vaguely knew that she wouldn't be able to make it until morning like this.
そう。で、シロはこのままセイバーと心中する？
まさかそんな気はないし、セイバーは消えさせない。セイバーが消えるって言うんならレイジでも何でも使って。
オーケー、それならいいわ。じゃあ両方とも解決しましょう。セイバーを助けて、ついでに3人でこの森から脱出する。今後の方針はそれで決まりね。
は？
My brain turns into tofu. Tosuka says the most difficult things so easily at times.
ちょっと待って。そりゃ確かにそうしたいけど、それができないから。
いいからこっちに来て。言っとくけど、私も簡単にセイバーを死なせる気はないわ。ええ、この機会は逃さない。あなたにはその責務を果たしてもらう。シローもいいって言ったし、そうしても構わないわよね、セイバー。
Tosuka looks at Saber with a meaningful expression. Saber does not answer, but merely looks downward awkwardly. Once we pass between the exceptionally tall trees, an unexpected sight appears before me.
廃墟？
ここならしばらく身を隠せるでしょ。来るときにね、アーチャーが見つけておいたのよ。万が一の時の隠れ家にしようって。
Jeez, this place, man. The entire ground floor is taken over by trees. The only usable rooms are on the second floor, and this is the best of those. With all this rubble all over the floor. Miraculously, the windows are still intact. I don't know how, but I can see the night sky from here.
ほー、割合綺麗じゃない。もしかしたら最近まで誰かが寝泊まりしてたのかもね。
Really, what kind of nerves does she have? Stepping over the rubble, Tosuka is dusting off the bed by the window. The environments in the game are just gorgeous. Yeah.
シローこっち。セイバーを寝かせないとまずいでしょ。人に抱かれているのって結構体力使うのよ。
ああ、今行く。
I lay Saber down on the old bed.
どう？苦しいセイバー。まだ体を動かすのには問題ない？ええ、シローがここまで運んでくれましたから、まだ体を保っていられるようです。そう。ならあとはこっちの問題だけか。あれから1時間、イリアスフィールが追ってくるにしても、もう少し時間はかかるわ。うん、探すのに手間取れば、 朝方ぐらいまでは隠れていられる。
Her mumbling reminds me. We were able to make it to this ruin, but what happened to Berserker and Archer? He remained at the castle to keep Berserker there. It's been over an hour, so Archer should have already retreated from the castle as well.
父さんか、あいつは
Tosuka doesn't answer. She just places her right hand on her chest as if holding something dear. That tells me of Archer's fate. Tosuka's command spell is on her right arm. The master and the servant are connected. As Saber sensed my danger, if the master can sense the life and death of their servant...
父さんか、あいつは
まあね、足止めだけでいいって言ったのにさ。あいつ最後までキザだったな。
Silence follows. The silence that seems to last forever is...
けど無駄になんかしない。アーチャーを失った以上、バーサーカーはここで倒す。
Aborted by the sound of Tosuka punching her left hand with her right.
悔やむのはここまでよ。悩んでいる暇があったら行動するのが私の信条。ここまで来たらあなたにも覚悟を決めてもらうからね。
覚悟って何のだよ。
決まってるじゃない。イリアスフィール、バーサーカーを倒す覚悟よ。セイバーを連れてたらこの森からは出られないし、彼女を自然に回復させるにしたって時間がかかる。どのみちイリアに追いつかれるわ。わかる？私たち3人揃って森を出るにはバーサーカーを倒すしかない。それができなければ私たちもアーチャーの後を追うだけよ。
バーサーカーを倒すだって。
That monster? Beat that whirlwind of death that nullifies every attack and destroys all that it touches in a single blow? I can't even imagine that. Anything that fights him will die. Tosuka must know that as well. Is she saying we'll beat it in spite of that?
いや、違う。
What am I saying? Tosuka isn't saying we can beat it. She has no such false hopes.
そうか。
That's right. We're not going to beat him to win. I should have realized that immediately.
倒すしかないんだな。
It's just that. If we don't want to die here, we have to beat that monster.
そういうことよ。けどそれほど絶望的な状況ってわけでもないわ。いくらバーサーカーだってアーチャーと戦った後なら何らかの傷を負っているはずよ。私だってとっておきの宝石を全部持ってきてるし、セイバーさえ回復すれば打開策の一つや二つは作り出せるわ。逆に言えばね、バーサーカーが傷を負っている今こそイリアスフィールを倒せる最大の機会だと思わない？
けど肝心のセイバーを回復させる方法があるのか。こんな場所じゃ満足な治療もできないんじゃ。
ううん、セイバーの治療に場所は関係ないわ。セイバーは単に魔力切れで弱っているだけだもの。一定量の魔力さえ補充してあげれば、あとは以前通りの能力を発揮してくれる。
Tosuka's explanation makes me remember last night. Tosuka said that Saber's magical energy is almost depleted. So to replenish Saber's magical energy...
いい？セイバーを助けたいなら、セイバー自身に人を襲わせて魂を食べさせるしかない。なら答えは一つよ。レイジを使いなさい、エミネ君。それで最悪の事態は避けられるわ。
There are 2 command spells left. I have to use this, make Saber attack people, and make her consume their souls to replenish her magical energy. We can't beat Berserker unless Saber is healed. We'll be beaten if we don't beat him. I sneak a glance at Saber, who is lying down. as we are now, will only make Saber suffer. But that means...
いや、トサカ。それでも、セイバーに人を襲わせるのは反対だ。
ええ。今回は私も同意よ。
え？
これが他の場所だったらその提案をしたでしょうけどね。でもここはイリアスフィールの庭の中、人の魂なんかどこにもない。あの城の中にはバーサーカーとイリアスフィール以外の誰かがいるかもしれないけど、それを探しに行くのはミスミス七に赴くようなものよ。
食べさせるためには外に出ないといけない。本末転倒になるってことか。
Tosaka nods. I'm glad that I don't have to make Saber attack people, but then how can we replenish her magical energy?
でもどうするんだトサカ。そもそも俺がセイバーに魔力を補充できないから困ってるんだよな。
方法はあるわよ。その昨日ってもう一昨日に説明したでしょ。サーバントに魔力を分け与える方法は共有の魔術とそれ以外にわずかな方法しかないって。あの時はまあこんな状況になるとは思わなかったから言わなかったんだけど。
I recall the conversation yesterday. She certainly did say...
まあ召喚時にセーバーとパスが通っているはずだからまだ方法があるかもしれないけど。
something like that.
思い出した。パスは通ってるから魔術以外の方法があるとかなんとか。
Wait, did I say something wrong? Maybe I misheard her back then because I was shocked about making Saber attack people.
トサカ、なんか方法があるのか。
まあね、私がサポートできる範囲で2つ。この状況だと荒っぽい方になるわ。いい？セイバーの魔力不足は素人のパスが不完全だからよ。彼女を回復させるにはこのパスを完全な形に通し直すしかない。
確かにそうできれば一番なんだろうが、俺はパスの通し方なんてわからない。
First of all, we had that problem since Saber was summoned. We wouldn't have been in this trouble if the line to supply her magical energy was established.
話自体は簡単よ。素人セイバーを共感状態にして霊的なパスをつなぎ直すだけ。契約破棄や最小間以外にパスを修復するためにはそれしかない。そのためにセイバーにシローの魔術回路を移植するの。
Transplant my magic circuit into Saber?
セイバーとシローのパスを新しくするには霊的に重要な器官を移植するしかないわ。サーバントとマスターが聖杯の力を借りているのなら、それに匹敵する強い結合を生み出さないとパスは通らない。そのためにはマスターの魔術回路をサーバントに移植する。それくらいやらないとシローの力がセイバーには届かないから。
Magic circuit. A mechanism Magi need so they can use Odd to activate mana. This is the core of Magi, and without this, one cannot create magical energy, which is the source of magic. It is more important than their life for Magi. You can even call it the meaning of their existences. I can give that magic circuit to someone else?
サーバントの回路をマスターに移植するのは危険すぎるわ。ゴーストライナー、それも英霊の回路は死にゆく人の体に移しても強烈な拒絶反応しかもたらさない。そうなると残された手はシローの回路をセイバーに移植するしかないってこと。でもそれは張り巡らされた神経を引きちぎられることと同じよ。そうなればその負担は
The one the organs are transplanted from. Ripping out nerves means the same thing as ripping off your fingers and arms.
待ってくださいリン。それはあまりにもシローに。そうしないと誰も生き残ることはできない。あなたなら分かっているはずよ、セイバー。
I take care as I gulp so they won't hear it. have to get my priorities straight. I have no time to hesitate if it's clear what needs to be done.
登坂、それは成功するのか？
成功させるわ。でも成功させることはそのまま安全につながるわけじゃない。失敗させるつもりはさらさらないけど、成功すればシローの魔術回路はセイバーに奪われる。むしろ失敗した方がいいんじゃないかって思えるほどの喪失感と苦痛を生むでしょうね。もし魔術回路を奪われれば、それはシローが
My second nerve, the magic circuit, will be taken out. This means removing the part of my nerves, damaging the spiritual body's integrity, and creating a fatal defect as a magus. The essential parts are written in the blueprint, but what happens if those parts are lost? You can never perfect something that is lacking. My hope of becoming complete will disappear here. Once Emi Ashiro loses his foundation called the Magic Circuit, he will stay incomplete no matter what. I nod to myself. I see. Then it's much better to be able to save Saber.
よし、やろう、登坂。
早っ。決断が早いのはいいけど、本当にどういうことなのか分かってるの？
分かってる。登坂教えてくれただろ。
分かってるわけないじゃない。いい？セイバーを救うために私はシローに魔術師として死ねと言ってるようなものなのよ。なのにどうしてそんなに反論もしないでうなずいて。
だから反論はないんだって。登坂の考えた最上の計画だからうなずくんだ。もっと自分の計画に自信を持てよ、登坂。そんな風に慌てるとこっちが不安だ。それにそうしないとセイバーはバーサーカーと戦えないんだろう。
そうよ、そうだって言ってるじゃない。
だろ。それに俺たちには犠牲がないわけじゃない。あいつが稼いでくれた時間のためにも戦って勝たなきゃいけない。
His back told me to go. I didn't like him, but he risked his life to protect Tosaka. Then I can't be chickening out here.
いいわ。始めましょう、シロ。
セイバーもいいか。俺の魔術回路を移植するってことなんだが。
はい。それがマスターの判断なら。
Her voice does not contain affirmation or denial, but her eyes look as if they're in regret. I guess Tosaka is going to prepare us for the transplant. I don't know how from the first place, so I have to leave it to Tosaka.
まずはセイバーからね。シロは魔術回路をオンにしたまま、できるだけ心を乱さないように待機していて。
I close my eyes and turn over the artificial nerve in my body. I can turn the circuit on and off without a problem thanks to Tosaka, but... A red flower entangles itself with a white flower. Hold on, I need to check something. Let me, make sure my settings are correct here. Yes, okay. Yeah, so, originally, this was an H scene, but I have H scenes off, so we're not seeing that. But it's still gonna be probably kind of suggestive. Tosaka gets on top of Saber, who cannot move, and casually, brazenly moves her fingers across Saber's slender body.
待て、登坂。お前、セイバーに何をする気だ？
何って、セイバーにもリラックスしてもらおうと思って。セイバーが力を抜いてくれないと成功率が下がっちゃうし。
ああ、そういうことか。悪い、続けてくれ。
ええ、どうも。それじゃあ服を脱ぎましょうか、セイバー。
はあ？
いちいち驚かないの。脱ぐって言っても一部だけよ。魔術回路の移植は精神と体の融合よ。できるだけ接触を多くして遮蔽を少なくしなきゃいけないでしょ。
I forgot that even the censored version went like this. Tosaka is serious and calm. The only ones flustered are Saber and I.
待ってください、リン。それでしたら自分ででき。腕を上げるのも辛いくせに強がらないで。はあ、それともエミヤくん、マスターの責務としてセーバーを自分で脱がせたいとか。
And even in a moment like this, she cannot stop herself from teasing Shiro. I stop myself before I call her an idiot. With the joke aside, that's something I'm not suited to do. I can't stay composed if I have to do such a thing.
すまない。そっち任せた。
よろしい。そういうわけだから白も脱ぎなさい。は、上着脱ぐだけでいいから。下まで全部脱いだら殺すからね。
I can't tell if she's serious or joking. Anyway, it seems I need to take off as much clothing as I can to come in contact with Saber.
白、お願いです。しばらく背を向けていていただけないでしょうか。
わかった。準備ができたら言ってくれ。
I turn around, take my shirt off, and fold it up. I even fold the sleeves so I could put it in a drawer if I wanted to, and try to hide my nervousness.
大丈夫、セイバー。はい。だいぶ楽になりましたが。
I have to calm down. I try to suppress my fear while acknowledging how hard the transplant of the magic circuit is. Magic circus. I mean, the Mages Society is a circus. Or the Mages Association. Anyways, how hard the transplant of the magic circuit is and how much loss and pain the process involves. This is just a passing point. The thing I should be scared of is the fight against Berserker after this.
いいわよ、シロ。
ああ。
Saber's skin is like new fallen snow or marble. With the front of her blouse hanging open, Saber is so beautiful it bordered on profane. I suddenly forget to breathe. Girl, why were you seemingly not wearing a bra under there? I've seen her skin before, but the Saber in bed right now is unlike any Saber I've ever seen. It's because of the weird tension. With myself aside, Saber's acting strangely too. Before, she was acting normally even when I saw her skin.
シロ、こっち。ここに上がってセイバーに覆いかぶさって。
I'm going to be honest, the only thing I remembered from the censored version of this scene was mana dolphins. Which, now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure that's actually from the 2006 anime. Although Rail to Nua came out after that, so I think it's here too. It feels like I'm moving a borrowed body. I'm walking to the bed, but stepping on the rubble doesn't feel realistic.
セイバー、同調までは私がやるわ。それからあとはあなたにお願いするけど、持っていきすぎないように注意して。少なければ少ないほどシローの負担は減るから。わかりました。お願いします、リン。
Their conversation doesn't come into my head. I have my hands full on steadying my breath. We get even closer. We're so close that our skin is almost touching. I feel her weak breath. I support myself with my arms, and my body is too close to her.
変革準備。実質。ボーガ、接続開始。
Her spell starts. I shake off useless thoughts and clear my mind so I can sympathize with Saber.
小さく、小さく、小さく、小さく。円環航路、開 開始。
The only thing I can see is Saber's face. She's already in meditation. I can't keep my eyes open forever. I close my eyes reluctantly.
大きく大きく大きく大きく愛の行動連続閉鎖。
My senses are becoming vague. The sense of floating that I feel every night when I constructed the magic circuit. The feeling of my mind escaping my body and being flung away. But it goes in the opposite direction this time. It usually goes out my back, but my mind is escaping out of my chest right now. The 5 senses are functions of the body. My sense of hearing should go away since I'm out of my body, but my ears are hearing Saber's breathing sharper than before. The gentle breathing is starting to become lively. The sound of the rapidly beating heart. The sound of blood flowing through the veins. I slip out the shell called Emiyashiro and slide into her body. My mind sinks even deeper. I converge, swirl, shrink, and become a strong crystal to enter her. The beat, warmth, breath. I touch her mind, not her body.
白
A voice like a bell. I answer the voice. My mind completely breaks away from my body. My senses completely transform. I have no arms, legs, or self. I run naked. It feels like I'm running back in time. It rather feels like I'm being left behind. It accelerates. Body, personality, order, law. I become a dart and penetrate through numerous barriers between boundaries of individual. Sparks fly from the circuit. The sensation of reaching the speed of light freezes me. It's as if passing by human life in a second. The concentrated life is heavy and therefore cruel. No matter how the life is, it passes by in an instant. It's unbearable to stare at direct on. Therefore, my emotion is anesthetized and freezes. This is what it's like to go on a journey with only the mind. I realize what an excellent insurance the weight called the body was. Visualization of foundation of magic. Digitalization of human. Several hundred organs are connected using several billion connections. The infinite complex pattern is a highway made of simple repetitions. The distant future that eventually is. It's like a vehicle going through an illuminated city without any life. Here, the present time passes by at light speed. Eternity in an instant. I pass through the final boundary. Beyond this is inside her. I will see the magic circuit owned by the existence called Arturia. The change is extreme. The fast world filled with light is cut off in an instant. It's dark and heavy here. Pressure compresses my outline. The air is too dense, and it feels as if I'm underwater. My body is slowly sinking, accompanied by pain as if squashed by a strong force. The path is deep, and I can't see the bottom. It feels like I'm falling through massive darkness into an even denser darkness. The fact that I instantly went past thousands of miles feels like a lie. Now I'm suffering for an eternity to go a mile. I feel no hope nor light ahead. Is this really Saber's magic circuit? It's greatly different from mine. They say the shape of magic circuit and the number of paths are different for each person, but this is different. It's not about scale or ability. It seems Saber's magic circuit is fundamentally different from that of a magus. The path rumbles. Each time, my small self is almost crushed. I don't know what kind of magic circuit Saber has, but I know that the sympathizing spell is working. This isn't a failure. This place is dark and heavy, unlike Saber, but this isn't an impure place. It's so full of life. The flowing air is blood and also a swirl of magical energy. I realize that I've forgotten to breathe. It may be because there's no need to. The sinking is painful, but not life-threatening. I look up at the darkness I fell through, and it feels like it's a distance I can't go back. First of all, I can't see anywhere in this darkness. Even a slow fall seems infinite. The weight of the air changes. The speed of descent decreases even more. I narrow my eyes at the brightness of the darkness. There's an end to the infinite path. I feel Saber's warmth and breath. That's the final destination. I reach the source of Saber's magic circuit, the mental world at her But the scenery is beyond my understanding. The core of a star. The embodiment of fire that breathes deep underground is here. Not a sound. The red surface of the lake is swirling, but stays silent without splashing around. A huge shadow is in the bottom of the lake. The eye of fire perceives the small intruder. A foreign body is still a foreign body, even if its master allowed it inside. In this core, my mind is only a piece of trash that disturbs its function or a piece of wood to light on fire. I swallow my breath that I do not need. I stare at the full scenery. This is Saber's magic circuit. Her heart that exceeds humans and is fundamentally different from ours, which is imagined from lines and circuits. This place is a reactor core. If a magus's body is a machine which creates magical energy, this place is a factory which creates magical energy. But the core isn't active. The starting key to make the core turn, the source of energy to provide the first turn, is not there. There is such a great amount of magical energy and an enormous core, but there isn't enough magical energy to activate the core. It rises to the surface, the stalled sea of gasoline. No matter how much undiluted magical energy there is, it's meaningless without a fire to burn it. It doesn't matter how small the fire is. This core will resume activity once the path to send magical energy is connected. For that, a thing transcending human knowledge awakens. The many paths running across the lake swirl up. The red atmosphere shoots up and becomes pillars. Or is this how it is inside a thundercloud? The raging sound of the waves is so huge that I already cannot perceive them with my hearing. Just like how something so huge cannot be seen, its roar is just like silence. The thing appearing from within the blazing core is an embodiment of all the threats to mankind. It has been said, the king is a red dragon symbolizing Britain. The child of the sacred star, carrying phantasmal blood in a human body. Dragon. The symbol, fear, and king of the numerous phantasmal beasts. Appearing sometimes as evil and sometimes as godlike, the highest of all beings. That is what is in Saber's unconsciousness. It is an absurd, true nature that is appropriate for the best servant. The cauldron is opened. The too brutal fang fills my vision. Resistance is meaningless. A mere human cannot defend against it. A mere human's intelligence cannot think of running away. It must have been that hungry. With bloodshot eyes, it bites down on food that is small as dust and eradicates all words. Come to think of it, why isn't food on the table alive? It doesn't even need to be said. It cannot bear it if it's alive. We know that food is better fresh, but it's still dead because it's too cruel to keep it alive. In short, despite appearances, edible meat preserves the dignity of life. Screams and rage boil up. I forget who I am and roar like a beast. I appeal my pain. Hatred builds up. I resist with bare sensation. As I'm bitten on, I beg for mercy like a sinner being crucified. My senses vanish. I drop all goals and meanings. Keeping sanity here is as distant as the time of creation. Excessively powerful pain and pressure. And the instant I can only perceive this creature as a monster. I recall her figure, hanging her head, believing that I can withstand this hell. I recall the meaning of this pain. I exhilarate the significance of this anguish. I fully realize why I came to this place. I breathe out and stop resisting. The one I should fight against is not the dragon's fangs, but the pain within me. I didn't come here to get away from the pain. I'm here to save her from pain and to answer the trust she kept many times. Thus, as I cannot fight, I'm here to give her the best answer I can give. There's no pain that I can describe anymore. I'm not reaching out to my destroyed senses. I stay quiet as if I'm asleep and sharpen my senses. Eternity is an instant here. If that is the case, I can stay conscious if I withstand the pain even for an instant. Alright then. I have no fear. I shall dedicate this pain to you, the one who is fighting. Pain disappears in an instant. The red dragon is gone, and my consciousness rises. Did it grow light because I lost some of it? As if returning to the surface, I get away from the core against my will. Wait, I have to check something before that. How warm. The core is burning golden with a low sound. The delicate magic circuit is glowing with all the colors of the rainbow, restarting the circulation. The fire has been lit. Even though I may be an amateur magus, I was able to fulfill my role as her master. I surrender my body to the soaring wind. I catch a glimpse of a distant memory. A figure holding a sword, and a figure dancing in the field. Which did I find familiar? Okay, was Mana Dolphin's Unlimited Blade Works then? I feel the sun on my eyelids and open my eyes slowly. I check my body with my dizzy mind. My limbs are still there. I don't feel any wound on my body. Maybe the pain went away when I endured it. My mental wound that could have been a trauma is healed as well.
Shiro.
I hear a weak voice from under me. The feeling of her soft skin instantly makes me realize who she is and what we're doing. Saber is lying on the bed with an untidy blouse, and Tosuka is curled up and asleep. Tosuka's alright, but Saber has been under me dressed like this.
Ohayo, Saber.
Hi. Ohayou gozaimasu, Shiro.
An awkward greeting. Saber slowly gets up and fixes her blouse. Crap, we're conscious of each other and can't look at each other in the eyes.
もう起きられるようになったんだ、セイバー。
はい。魔力の供給を受けられるようになりましたので。
It seems Saber's back to normal. The frailness when I carried her here is gone now.
そうか。よかった。成功したんだ。魔術回廊の移植は。
はい。ですからその服を着ていただけませんか、シロ。その格好のままだと私もなぜか話しづらい。
Get your shirt back on. I look down at myself.
そうか、そうだよな。そうだった。
I quickly reach out for my extremely folded up clothes. Tosuka folded up my clothes. No, I'm the one who did it. Why did I fold it up this much? I vividly recall the ritual last night. I sympathized with Saber and transplanted my magic circuit deep inside her. It looks like Saber's back to normal, but what about me? Tosuka said that my body and mind would not be able to handle losing the magic circuit, but there's no big damage, nor do I feel any big sense of loss. I'm a bit scared, but I check my magic circuit. I dread looking at how much of it is missing, but the fight against Berserker is waiting. I have to know the condition I'm in. Weird. The magic circuit is a bit dull, but I don't see any damage. It was bitten to pieces, but my magic circuit is still there. I guess there's nothing wrong with it for me to use the strengthening spell.
そうか。これって。
The magic circuits I rarely used probably were taken away. I only activate 1 to 4 circuits for strengthening. I can't use any large-scale spells, so I've never fully activated all my circuits. It seems the magic circuits transplanted into Saber were those circuits I rarely used.
シロ。
I can still use the strengthening spell just fine, but my body's fatigue and dullness as if I'm in water is because my full ability has degenerated. In its place, I feel that I'm connected deep down to something important. I can't clearly tell where, but there's a weak link between Saber and I. I've obtained something big and warm in place of my lost circuits.
申し訳ありません、シロ。
I hear Saber's apologetic voice from behind me.
シロの回路を得る際に必要最小限にとどめるよう努力はしました。ですが、その最低限の量ですら人から得るには多すぎた。もしやシロに消せない傷跡を残してしまったかと思うと、謝罪の言葉も見当たりません。これは私の不覚です。私が書くも力足らずでなければ、シロには。
そんなことはない。セイバーは謝らなくていいんだ。そもそもの原因は俺が魔力の供給をできないでいてセイバーに迷惑をかけていたからだろ。 でもそれもこれで解決した。これからはちゃんと魔力の供給ができる。ああ、これで本当に胸を張ってセイバーのマスターだって口にできる。
ですがシロ、
俺の魔術回路のことは気にしなくていいよ。どうせ使わないものみたいだし、むしろない方がすっきりする。
Saber doesn't look happy. Crap, I don't know what to say now. Saber's healed, and I survived in spite of losing my magic circuit, Saber's magic circuit, and the dream of light and wind and Saber's youthful days. And on top of that, we spent the night dressed like that. Calm down, calm down. That was a ritual for us to survive. I have to calm down. I may make a mistake in the oncoming fight like this. Her breath pauses and she lets out a voice. It seems Tosuka woke up.
おはようございます、リン。
よ、トサカ。おはよう。
Her hair moves and she raises her head. Tosuka's not a morning person, so she's like a different person right now.
Thank you, トサカ。ちゃんと成功したぞ。
はい。私の魔力の補充はできました。ですがその代わりシロに。
いや、なくなったのは3割ぐらいだと思うから大丈夫。これくらいならなんとか。
3割ですか。なんとか最小にとどめたというのに、それでも3割とは。我がことながら、なんと強欲な。
強欲か。そうだな。腹ペコだったにしても、もう少し行儀よくしてほしかったな。
The awkward mood disappears since Tosuka joined in. Now we're really back to normal.
そう、じゃあ、いいわね。
Tosuka yawns once and stands up. The battle is near. Berserker and Iliasville are waiting on the other side of the silent forest. We'll lose many significant things we exchanged last night unless we break through that hurricane of death. The connection with Saber created in my heart. To protect it, we have to defeat the strongest enemy. Interlude 11:1. And the battle between the two ends. They killed and exterminated each other with all their might, and it ended with the annihilation of the Red Knight. The gorgeous hall is completely transformed. The floor is cracked in numerous places. Many walls have been knocked down. The stairs have collapsed and the smashed marble has scattered in the wind. The space has been completely destroyed, leaving no trace of its former beauty. You could say it has also destroyed time, because the remains of the destruction hide what the place looked like just 2 hours ago. In the middle of the destruction stands a suitable sculpture. It stands over 2 meters tall, looking like a figure of a man carved out of a large stone. It does not even need to be said. It is Iliasville's servant, Berserker. The giant does not move. His body is dyed in red and filled with holes. There is no place on the giant's body that is not wounded. First, both his legs are almost melted. Second, there is the mark of a cut on his neck. Third, his arm is barely hanging from his elbow. Fourth, he is slashed from his shoulder to his groin. Fifth, a large amount of blood is gushing out from his chest. Sixth, his internal organs can be seen at his stomach. Berserker does not move. It is only natural. It is a corpse, no matter how one looks at it. The battle itself has ended much earlier, but Berserker's master has forgotten to act as this result is too surprising and unexpected. She has to pursue her prey, but she is only looking at this scene in astonishment.
信じられない。何だったのよ、あいつ。
She murmurs angrily. The battle that took place here was nothing but humiliation for her. her servant is the most powerful. There should be only 1 or 2 servants able to match Heracles, the most famous of all the heroic spirits. But Archer, a heroic spirit of unknown identity, has defeated him. That Red Knight has matched Berserker equally and has succeeded in killing Berserker, something no one has been able to do before. Such actions cannot be forgiven. For her, this is like being stabbed in the heart, For her, this is like being stabbed in the heart by a bug on the roadside. The pride of a girl who considers herself the strongest cannot allow herself to be cornered by someone who should be stepped on, begging for sympathy. The sculpture does not answer. It might be unable to afford an answer, or perhaps it sees no need for one. Berserker just stands there and devotes himself to healing his wounds. This battle was too strange for him as well. His noble phantasm nullifies any attack. No attack can affect his body unless it is of the highest grade, so he rarely takes wounds. In the Age of Gods, no one could scratch him after he had accomplished his great deeds. But still, 6 times! Archer delivered a fatal blow 6 times. It does not even need to be said that every one of the attacks was by a different method. What? Why are you yelling at me? Cat cameo, I guess? Even the greatest attacks cannot be effective on Berserker twice. If one seeks strangeness, that is the strange part. If Archer is a hero with such varied abilities, his true identity should have been clear. But his true identity still remained unknown, even after his body was pulverized. What was really surprising was his way of being, contradictory to that of a servant. Hang on a moment. Sorry about that. A dim light rose in Berserker's eyes. If he had been summoned as a normal servant, he would have grieved that this battle deserved better. No matter who he really was, Archer was a rare, great enemy. If he had not been mad, he could have matched sword techniques with Archer to his heart's content and passed a satisfying time. His master's voice echoes. With that, the small light of rationality vanishes. He is only a berserker now. His role is to defeat his opponents and to crush them as his master pleases. He does not even need to answer. Wounds that are not fatal will be fully healed within a few minutes. But restoring everything would take 3 days. The giant silently objects. It is his instinct. Berserker has an intuition like sabers when it comes to fighting. The enemies can certainly be mowed away easily, But it will be a different story if Servant Saber has recovered enough to use her noble phantasm. Berserker will not yield to a mere holy sword, but there is a small chance. His instinct tells him that if he is to fight that servant, he should engage her in perfect condition.
何よ、5つもあれば十分じゃない。あんな奴らゴッドハンドなんかなくたって敵じゃないもの。それとも何、ここまで私たちをバカにした奴らを見逃してやるっていうの、バーサーカー。そうでしょ。誰一人として私の森からは逃がさないわ。うん、リンとセーバーはバーサーカーにあげるね。殺すなりもてあそぶなり好きにしていいわ。
Get out of my face, Missy. The girl jumps down from the stairs. Through the rubble, she walks to the exit without a care for the bloody berserker. In that moment, the girl stops once as if remembering something.
さあ、狩りを始めましょう、バーサーカー。だけど、セイバーのマスターは簡単に殺しちゃダメだよ。シローには一番ひどい死に方をさせてあげるんだから。
Smiling, the girl leaves the castle. The sun should come up soon. The forest is like her yard. No matter where her prey are hiding, it should be no problem for her to find them. As her targets, they only have a few minutes of life remaining. Interlude out. So, I don't know why, but I was forced to leave the ruin. Tosaka pushed me out, saying that girls have adjustments afterward, changing and all that.
何言ってんだ。男だっていろいろある。
I grumble, leaning against the wall. It sounds like an excuse because it is. Remembering, I frantically shake off my worldly desires. I have to forget about it for now. I won't survive if I'm submerged in memories of Saber, and more than anything, it's impolite to Saber. After all, I made contact with Saber to save her. So I shouldn't have any other emotion for Saber. I'm a big liar. I can't deceive myself about it with excuses like that. I can't forget the spectacle I saw inside Saber. But I have to forget about it for now. Geez, this is no time to worry about such things. What we should be worrying about right now is how we take on Berserker.
そうだ。自分にできることをやらないと。あいつだって最後にそう言ってたじゃないか。
I remember Archer's back. I could never like him, but all of his words have stuck in my head. I stare at a tree branch. There are only a few things I can do. Even if it isn't much right now, I can only do them to the best of my abilities. I pluck a handy branch, and I also find a few more branches that are straight.
シロー、終わったから入ってきて。
I hear Tosaka's voice. I return to the ruin carrying the branches I found. Well, the only other problem is whether I'm able to act normally after seeing into Saber's heart, even for a moment.
こちらです、シロ。リンから話があるそうです。
I guess such worries were only on my part. Saber is acting resolutely as always. She must have completely accepted the incident, unlike me.
ああ、今行く。
Damn, I won't lose. It's stupid to be the only one blushing, so I'll try my best to act calm.
来たわね。それじゃあ作戦会議を始めるけど、会議って言っても口論し合う暇はないわ。バーサーカーを倒す方法も限られているし、とりあえず私の話を聞いてもらえる？
Saber and I nod.
作戦としては単純よ。まともな方法じゃバーサーカーとは勝負にならない。勝つためには奇襲。仕掛けたのなら反撃させずに一撃で首を落とすのが絶対条件だと思う。
Get out of my face. Thank you.
同感です。バーサーカーと打ち合ったところであれには致命傷を与えられません。倒すのならば打ち合いの外から消すべきでしょう。
打ち合いの外からって、バーサーカーが俺たちに気づく前に先回りして襲うってことか。そりゃあいつと正面から戦うのは無謀だけど、そっちの方はもっと無謀だ。あいつが奇襲なんてさせる玉か。
ええ、バーサーカーに気づかれずに近寄るなんて都合のいい作戦はやらないわよ。あっちにはイリアスフィールがいるんだもの。少なくともセイバーとシローの気配は簡単に感知されるわ。私は気配を隠せるから大丈夫だけど。
I don't know how it works, but Ilya can feel Saber in my presence, huh? If Tosaka is the only one who can hide, then...
まさか奇襲をするのは遠坂だって言うんじゃないだろうな。
当然でしょ。一番に狙われてるのはシローなんだし、この中で一番動きやすいのは私だもの。隙をついて後ろからバッサリやるのは任せなさい。
後ろからバッサリって、バーサーカーがそんな甘いわけないだろう。
そりゃそうよ。だからセイバーに隙を作ってもらうの。セイバー、体はどのくらい回復した？通常戦闘ならば問題はありません。ですが宝具の使用は避けるべきです。今の魔力ではおそらく使った瞬間に体を維持できなくなる。たとえ使ったとしても純度は落ちていますから、バーサーカーを倒せるとは思えません。ええ、それで十分よ。セイバーにはバーサーカーと打ち合ってもらうわ。もちろんシロも一緒で、私は隠れて様子を見る。イリアスフィールから見れば私はおまけみたいなものだし、いなければ2人を見捨てて逃げたとか思うんじゃないかしら。はあ、それはまあ可能性はなくはありませんが。可能性が低いならあげて。シローはイリアスフィールと仲がいいみたいだし、うまく話せば騙せるんじゃない？
Tosaka looks at me meaningfully.
反論はあるけど引き受けた。遠坂は逃げたって言えばイリアはまず信じるよ。あの子は人の言葉を疑わないと思う。
だとしても問題はあります。私がバーサーカーと対峙するのはいい。ですがシローに同じことはさせられません。シローではバーサーカーの一撃に耐えられない。誰もシローに殴り合えなんて言ってないわ。シローはセイバーから離れて後方支援。セイバーだけじゃバーサーカーを押し切るのは難しいから、危なくなったら助けてあげて。バカな。シローはリンのように魔術に長けてはいない。援護と言っても何を。それはシローが考えて。もっともバーサーカー相手だとマスターが介入する余裕なんてないわ。シローだけじゃなくて私だって手を出せばセイバーの足を引っ張るもの。それでも一人だって遊ばせる余裕はないの。シローが殺されればセイバーもおしまいっていうのは分かってるけど、ここはそうしてもらうわ。初めから賭け事みたいな戦いなんだから。それはそうですが。
Saber grows silent with a troubled face. As Tosaka is silent too, she must know she's saying something unreasonable. The two's concern is only natural. That night I met Saber. When we were attacked by Berserker, I could only use my body to defend her. There's a high probability that would happen again. So I should stay away from the battlefield, but I would have no intention of doing that even if she didn't tell me to be there.
分かってる。遠くからの援護は何とかしよう。
Whoa, were my words that surprising?
離れたところからセイバーを援護すればいいんだろ。それなら何とかなると思う。
Saying that, I hold up the branch I just collected. The length is perfect. The flexibility is good as well. This is the first time I've done this kind of strengthening. but I don't think there's any flaw in the principle. The point is, I just need to keep reinforcing it until it becomes a real one. And for this, I also have a reference, since he had one too. And on top of that, magical energy has been flowing in my body for a while now. I just have to repeat the usual process now. I analyze the basic structure and modify it. I analyze the composition materials and reinforce them. But that's not enough if the original is a branch and the final product is his bow. I have to imagine it from the concept of creation. If I am to get it close enough to the real one, I have to formulate every hypothesis, at least in my head. I open my eyes. The branch is shaped right, but,
似ても似つかね
it's ugly and crooked. But I know it will work as a bow. I just have to make the arrows in the same way.
シロ、今の。
え。ああ、シンジとの一件でなんとなくコツが分かった。遠坂も言ってただろ、力みすぎるなって。
そう。まあ、手段ができたのはいいことだし、今はいいわ。話を戻すけど、とにかく2人にはバーサーカーと戦ってもらう。私はあらかじめ木に登って上から様子を観察してるから。で、セイバーがなんとかバーサーカーに隙を作ったら、死角である頭上からとっておきの宝石を使い切ってバーサーカーを串刺しにする。作戦としてはそれだけの単純なものだけど。
Tosaka's expression asks for questions.
宝石というのは輪の魔術ですか？だとしても生半可な魔術ではバーサーカーの体には届きません。彼を傷つけるには最大純度の攻撃でなければならないのですから。分かってる。要するに A 判定の攻撃でないとダメなんでしょ？
Saying that, Tosaka takes a jewel out of her pocket.
その宝石は私が物心ついた時からために貯めた貯金みたいなものよ。これ一つで A 判定の大魔術を即座に発生させられる。10個あったんだけどね、一つはあなたに使っちゃったわ。そうか。あの時の魔術ならば確かにバーサーカーは防げない。彼には私のような大魔力はありません。魔術であってもそれが A 判定ならば問題なく貫通する。そういうことよ。本当は小出ししていこうと思ったけど、悠長なことは言ってられないわ。バーサーカーには特別に2つか3つは叩き込んでやるんだから。
Tosaka sticks out her chest in confidence. But...
おい、なんか半端にせこくないか、お前。
同感です。私が言えることではありませんが、せめて半分使い切るぐらいの気前の良さが必要だと思うのですが。何よ、そんなの人の勝手でしょ。あなたたちね、私がどれほど苦労してここまで貯めたって思ってるのよ。
Saber and I protest silently. Tosaka's life depends on this as well, so it won't be funny if she gets stingy and we end up failing because of that.
わかったわよ。半分使えばいいんでしょ、使えば。何よ、言ってみただけじゃない。私だってそれくらい分かってるんだから。とにかく作戦はそれだけよ。あとは私が隠れられてシローがセイバーの援護をしやすい場所を探さなくちゃ。イリアスフィールが来る前にいい場所を見つけましょう。
Yeah, we can't stay in this ruin now. As Tosaka says, all that's left is to find a spot to wait for Berserker. But before that... this is a decision that doesn't really matter, I think. So, who is Shiro worried about? Chat? Is Shiro worried about Saber? Or about Rin? Cast your votes now. Okay, chat has not made a decision, so I'm going with Saber. We're worried about Saber. I wonder if Saber's really alright. She says she will have no problems fighting, but isn't it hard on her fighting Berserker when she was so weak before? No, I'm more worried about her noble phantasm.
使えばその瞬間に体を維持できなくなる。
Saber said that. That means that Saber will disappear the instant she uses that sword.
セイバ
はい。何でしょうか、シロ。
ー、戦う前に一つ約束してくれないか。
ええ。それが私にできることならば構いませんが。
そのさ、どんな状況になってもあの宝具は使わないでほしいんだ。地上であんなものを使ったら大事だし、それにバーサーカーを倒せてもセイバーが死ぬなんていうのは嫌だ。
ええ、分かっています。私も宝具を使う気はありません。今の魔力でバーサーカーを倒せるとは限りませんし、何より消えてしまっては聖杯を手に入れられない。
Saber declares so. That makes me happy.
よし、いつものセイバーだ。うんざりするほど冷静で安心した。
それはどういう意味でしょうか、シロ。
いや、タイはないよ。いいから外に出よう。遠坂を待たせるとまた文句を言われるからな。
そうですね。リンはシロに文句を言うのが趣味のようですから。
Saying such an ominous thing, Saber heads to the exit. Then, Saber's body falls forward as if she tripped on something. I quickly grab her hand.
ほら、足元危ないぞ。散らかってるんだから気をつけないと。
Hey. Saber is blushing awkwardly.
セイバー、どうした？なんかあったのか？
いえ、そういうわけではないのですが、手を握られていると、
Saber blushes even more. Her figure looks like me from earlier. I blush too. Her hand in mine. I vividly recall Saber's sensations and pull away quickly. Unable to say anything, we just stand there.
外に出よう。早く行かないと時間がない。
そうですね。急ぎましょう、シロ。
We start to go with that forced conversation. Once we go outside, we won't return here. I look back at the ruin for the last time and head to the battlefield, suppressing my beating heart. We reach an open clearing in the forest. The sun is rising and the forest is darkened by the morning mist. Compared to the inside of the dense forest, this place has an open view.
遠坂、ここ悪くないんじゃないのか？
そうね。条件はいくらかクリアしてるけど、見晴らしが良すぎるのがどうもね。これじゃあ私はともかくセイバーとシローの逃げ道がないもの。
She's such a perfectionist, considering even the escape routes.
丘を渡りましょう。大丈夫。まだ時間はあるわ。
Tosuga re-enters the forest. But Saber stares into the distance and doesn't move.
セイバー、何してるのよ。早くしないとイリアスフィールに。
I feel a chill. I can't forget it, since I felt it once already. I can't even see him nor feel his presence. But this pressure on my body must be because of him. God, that's so creepy. A girl's voice echoes through the forest. Beyond the mist. From inside the forest far away, something black comes straight for us. Is it because we're in a clearing under the open sky? I feel like Ilya is talking to us while looking down from the sky.
やば、あいつもう白を見つけたの？まずい、ここじゃ視界が広すぎる。何よこのスピード、これじゃあ2分かからない。ちょっと何のんびりしてるのよ2人とも。ここじゃまずいって言ってるでしょ。早く場所を変えないと。
Tosaka takes my hand, but we won't make it.
いや、ここでいい、トサカ。3人で戦えるだけでも良好なんだ。これ以上は求められない。
バカ、それがまずいんだってば。ここじゃ横幅がありすぎるの。セイバーだけじゃバーサーカーを止められないし、いくら離れてたってあんたも間合いに入っちゃうじゃない。
トサカが心配してくれてるのは分かってるけど、危険なのはみんな一緒だ。それにこうなっちゃ逃げ道なんかないんじゃないのか。
それはそうだけど。
セイバーもいいな。ここでバーサーカーを迎え撃つ。
Saber nods quietly.
もう分かったわよ。簡単にやられたら怒るからね。
She must have agreed as she disappears into the fog. Once she goes into action, she's super fast. She gets away from the clearing and goes up a tree in the forest.
来るぞセイバー、準備はいいか。
あなたも。戦いが始まったら決してここから前には出ないように。何があろうとバーサーカーをここには近づけさせません。
Y'all ready? The fog flickers. From the morning fog, as if a black darkness is seeping out, the mad warrior appears along with a white girl.
意外ね。てっきり最後まで逃げ回るとばかり思ってたのに。それとももう観念したの？お兄ちゃん。
There's about 40 meters between us and Ilya. We're facing each other on opposite ends of the clearing.
セイバーは治ったんだ。そっか。だから逃げ回るのはやめにしたのね。欲しいな。そんなことで私に勝てると思うのは可愛いんだけど。残念ね。シロはここで死ぬんだもの。
Her laughter echoes through the forest. Does it irritate her? Saber, standing beside me, is so worked up that she could attack at any moment.
もうつまんないな。ずいぶん無口になっちゃったのね。もしかして殺されるのは怖いの？そんなのもったいないよ。今命乞いをすれば私も許してあげないこともないんだから。
Tosaka must have finished climbing the tree. If she's going to place herself, it will be near the center of the clearing. Nobody would notice if she was right where the branches are overlapping, and they should be strong enough to support her as well.
そう。あくまでそういう態度なんだ。なら、もうおしゃべりはここまでだね。リンともども殺してあげ。待ちなさい。リンはどうしたの？シロ。
I guess that's what you expect from Berserker's master. She has a complete understanding of what can be overlooked and what can't be.
トサカはここにはいない。あいつと俺たちは塔に別れた。
別行動を取ったの？そっか。セイバーを連れてるシロは足手まといだものね。リン一人ならもっと遠くに逃げられる。
そういうことだ。もうとっくに森を出てるだろう。今から追っても間に合わないぞ。
そうかしら。この森はアインズベルンの結界よ。誰が入ってきて誰が出ていったかぐらいはわかるんだから。あれから外に出た人間は一人もいない。リンはまだ森にいるわ。探し出すのはこの後でも十分よ。
Thank God. If Ilya can only sense the boundaries of the forest, she doesn't know about Tosaka yet. Actually, she completely believed what I said. Ilya is certainly a cold-hearted master, But still, can't that cold-heartedness still be recovered?
イリア、戦う前にもう一度だけ聞くぞ。マスターを辞めて、こんな戦いをやめることはできないのか？
できないよ。おじいさまの言いつけだもの。バーサーカーがいる限り、私はアインツベルンのマスターなの。イリアは他のマスターたちを殺して聖杯を持ち帰らなくちゃいけないんだから。それにもう一度だけ聞くのはこっちだよ。私はアインツベルンの当主だから、あんな言葉二度は言わないわ。けどシローが答え直すって言うんなら、ちゃんと聞いてあげてもいいんだよ。
She has a little hope in her voice. But as long as Saber is beside me, I can't nod to her words.
答えは変わらない。俺はセイバーのマスターだ。お前がマスターを辞めないって言うんなら、バーサーカーを倒して辞めさせる。
I declare so while looking at Ilya and Berserker. In that instant, the air in the clearing freezes.
そう。なら、本気で殺してあげる。その思い上がりと一緒に、粉々に砕いてあげるわ、シロー。
What is that? A pattern is appearing on her face. No, it's not just her face. That thing is all over her body. It's a huge command spell, incomparable to the ones we have.
遊びは終わりよ。蹴散らしなさい、ヘラクレス。
A dead voice. As if to answer it, the giant behind her roars. A scream that shakes the earth. The giant screams as if going insane, and its every ability increases as it deforms and swells.
そんな、理性を奪っていただけで凶暴化させていなかったというのか。
It's only natural for Saber to feel a shudder. Even I, unable to tell how strong a warrior is, can sense that it is not to be messed with.
行け、近寄る者はみんな殺しちゃえ、バーサーカー。
It's an explosive roar. It roars out, not even a howl now, and the giant jumps in. A silver light dashes forward in reply. Berserker lands in the center of the clearing. A huge body descends, and Saber runs straight for its landing point. The ground trembles. As if stopping a meteor, Saber attacks Berserker. It is the return of legends. In this forest filled with the morning mist, the two shadows clash without ceasing. Berserker is just overwhelming. If his horizontal blow is a whirlwind, his descending blow is a waterfall. If Saber takes such an attack, it would prove fatal even for her. Saber repels such attacks straight on without faltering. Against such storm-like blows, she deflects them with all her might. If she doesn't, she'll be slashed in half along with her sword. The infinite blows that continue without pause are in fact a blow diverted with all her might. The continuous sound of clashing. Their ranges are different, their speeds are different, their strengths remaining are too different. The only thing possible for Saber is to smash her sword into the unavoidable attack and stop it from slashing her by offsetting it with her own blow. To speak metaphorically, Berserker is a broken rock drill. The blade spinning in all directions will mercilessly destroy all that approach. If one reaches out even a little, that is, that's it. One would get entangled in the blade and be shred to pieces, unable to even run away. A normal human can't go up against such a thing. If approaching it is fatal, you can only run away. But Saber places herself within the blades and does not retreat. so she will be cut down bit by bit. The swords make sparks, and it's only natural for her armor to splinter bit by bit. She is constantly putting herself in fatal situations. I just hold my breath. In ancient times, the heroes that went up against dragons must have all been like her. They know well enough that their strengths are different, but still, they bet on the chance of a lifetime. A great violence surpassing human. They defend until the only opening appears, and many warriors died when no such miracle occurred. Their fight is just that. A dazzling battle that takes my eyes away, but it has only one end prepared, with it being Saber defeat, as she is hurt more by the second. The roar shakes the ground. Berserker's whirlwind cuts through the wind and flings back the defending Saber. Saber's armor chips away with every blow, and as she hits the ground, she bravely charges at Berserker without falling to her knees. But she's already at her limits. Saber's breathing wildly, and her movements are slowing down even to my eyes. She's not even trying to create an opening in Berserker. Saber will be slashed by him in a few more blows. In my clenched fist is a bow. I need to check which option is the bad end option and which option is not. Because we once again did not receive the, Oh no, wait, that's not yet. Never mind, that's not yet. Okay. Do we provide backup? Or do we panic? Yeah, this isn't the bad end choice yet. That's the next choice. What do we do? Do we use the bow or do we panic? Wow, chat is leaving everything up to me today, huh? Alright, well, if it doesn't matter, I believe we will provide backup with the bow. Does this decision really not matter? I'm gonna save just in case. Like, I trust the flowchart. It's very reliable, but this feels high stakes regardless. So, I'll provide backup with the bow. The instant Saber is flung away, I fire at Berserker. This won't hurt him, but it should at least take his attention off Saber. The arrow that hits Berserker's temple does nothing. I can't even get his attention. The giant does not block. No, he doesn't even care about my attack.
そうよバーサーカー。白なんか放っておきなさい。 くらでも料理できるんだから。
Ilya's laugh echoes through the forest. I can't do anything. Saber's about to collapse in front of me and I can't do anything. I'm too weak. I can't hurt Berserker no matter what I do. All I'm doing is distracting Saber. A strong blow. Saber, repelling that attack, has her feet driven into the ground up to her ankles. The blows are heavy and fast. The axe sword flying above Saber's head comes down. The sword shaves off some of her armor as she flings herself away and breaks the ground. I feel like I'll grind my teeth down. Am I unable to do anything after all? I can't protect Saber nor fight alongside her. There's nothing I can do. All I can do is...
ならば、せめてイメージしろ。お前にできることなど、所詮その程度でしかないのだから。
That guy said so.
外敵などいらぬ。お前にとって戦う相手とは、自身のイメージに他ならない。
That's right. What was he saying? It wasn't his usual harassment. Those words held an importance that I need to understand right now. No, saying that. Weren't all of his words a warning that I shouldn't have ignored? Saber's body is flung away. She didn't jump to get away. She took a blow. That storm-like blow landed right on her side. Saber totters. Concentrating strength into her numb fingers, she faces Berserker again, coughing violently. The giant will not miss the opening Saber has finally shown. My voice won't reach them. It's useless for me to say anything, and it's useless for me to have a bow mimicking archers. Do I still not understand? What I can do. What I should be doing. That's right. What do I need to do, or what do I need in order to save Saber? A bow won't do. Even a lance won't be able to pierce him. And that doesn't mean I should have the same weapon as the enemy. That giant. To defeat that mountain, I'll need a sword. A sharp and gorgeous sword of the king that will defeat the enemy in one blow. Like that golden sword so suited to her that I saw in my dreams. My head hurts. Bearing my nausea, I still stare at Saber. But ironically, I feel like I'm going crazier the more I stare at her about to collapse. Saber and Berserker's movements seem to be in slow motion. Many switches are arranged in a row. Coughing, Saber bends her body in pain for an instant. Berserker smashes down his axe sword with all his might. As if making a line, the firing hammers move into position one by one. It seems like knocking down dominoes. The triggers are pulled all at once. Berserker's blow smashes Saber away. It's fatal. Saber's body is split through the waist and her pieces are thrown into the air. The only thing flung into the air is Saber's armor. Berserker only smashed Saber's armor. Saber created an opening to make Berserker take a large swing, and Saber charges in at top speed, using all the energy she has left. A black howl surges out, but he can't retreat from Saber, who is right in front of him. She places both hands on her sword and slashes at Berserker with all her might. I can't believe it. The giant that seemed to be rooted to the ground has smashed back a few meters by Saber's blow. And then... the true final attack is executed instantly. She must intend to fire from as close as possible. Tosaka jumps down from the branch high above and throws her jewels as she descends. A rain of ice whirls down. In it, 3 giant icicles shaped like spears have enough magical energy concentrated in them to blow away a whole mansion. Ilya, who was only watching until now, screams. She must have realized how dangerous that attack is, but it's too late. The spear of ice isn't just falling. As it's fired, it is accelerating to skewer Berserker. There's no way he would be able to dodge it. A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. A shotgun of ice perfectly coordinated with Saber's desperate attack. It has more than enough magical energy in it to be able to kill Berserker. But he swings his axe sword through the air. Even as he's pushed back by Saber, he destroys 3 blocks of ice with his quickly readied axe sword. Splashes of blood. Perhaps because he swung with only one arm, the ice is not completely destroyed and it lacerates his arm. Not only that, the ice refreezes on the giant's arm and stops its movement completely. But still, it only got one of his arms. Saber raises her voice. It's only natural, because Berserker's other arm has grabbed Tosuka's body as she descended onto him. Tosuka's face contorts in pain. With Berserker's power, it should be no problem to crush Tosuka.
Tosuka!
I run. I don't care if I'm only dragging her down. I don't care if I can't do anything. I won't let him crush Tosuka. Saber must not have any power left to stand, but she still lifts her body. Tosuka must be in pain as she reaches out with her face downcast. She smiles and speaks boldly. Everyone gasps. Saber, I, and even Berserker must have frozen. She's horrible. She knew this was going to happen, yet she never told us about it. Berserker puts power into his grip, but it's a second too late. Bullets of light are fired. 4 jewels are used. The rapid fire from perfect point-blank range kills the Black Mad Warrior for sure this time. No, it has splendidly, perfectly blown away his life. Did Berserker's head get blown off? Blood splatters over me and I'm at least 10 meters away. Is this his spinal fluid? Ew. I can't be too happy about it when there are things other than blood mixed in it. But I'm sure it wasn't overkill. He was a monster. I bet Tosuka would have been crushed if she didn't blow off his head in a single blow. I slow my running steps. Tosuka is still held by Berserker, but the battle is over. Berserker's face is still covered in white smoke. From the smoldering sounds, it must have been a huge explosion. I hear Tosuka's voice. She is looking into the white smoke, dumbfounded. Hold on. Is it just my imagination? Berserker's fingers holding Tosuka are digging deeper into her? Tosuka's just staring at the white smoke. But it doesn't last long. The large cloud of white smoke fades away. In it is Berserker's face, although it was certainly blown away. Tosuka is at a loss for words, cowed by the demonic stare. Laughter echoes through the clearing. The Silver Master controlling Berserker from the edge of the clearing is laughing.
それくらいじゃ消えないんだ。だってね、そいつは12回殺されなくちゃ死ねない体なんだから。12回殺される。
She must have figured out something important from Ilya's words. Tosaka's eyes are strained in faint regret.
そっか、神明が分かった時点で思い当たるべきだった。ヘラクレスって言ったらヒドラの弓なのに、持ってるのはただの岩だった。だからこいつの宝具はものじゃないんだ。英雄ヘラクレスのシンボルはそう、肉体そのものがヘラクレスの宝具なのよ。あなたも知っているでしょ、ヘラクレスの12の難行を。ギリシャの英雄ヘラクレスは己が罪を償うために12もの冒険を乗り越え、そのご褒美として不死になった。この意味あなたならわかるでしょ。命のストック、蘇生魔術の重ねがけ。ええ、だからそいつは簡単には死ねないの。かつて自分が乗り越えた分の試練は生き延びてしまう神々にかけられた不死の呪い。それが私のバーサーカーの宝具、ゴッドハンドなんだから。分かった？バーサーカーは今ので死んでしまったけど、あと5つの命があるの。欲しかったわね、リー。今のが5倍の宝石だったらバーサーカーは消えていたのに。
I can't hear Ilya too well. I see Saber run up to Berserker out of the corner of my eye.
リン、逃げて。
Saber dashes to her. Tosaka tries to tear off Berserker's fingers, but they won't even budge. Then...
いいよ、バーサーカー。そいつ潰しちゃえ。
The burning eyes glare at Tosaka. Tosaka screams. The giant's fingers dig in as if to scoop out Tosaka's guts. What lies ahead is... that inescapable figure of her, miserably crushed. I run. I forget who I'm against or where I am. My mind has already burned up. Saber slashes at Berserker. The invisible sword is swung at Berserker's defenseless arm as if chopping a vegetable. But it has no effect. The sword bounces back. Not only does it not hurt Berserker's arm, but it does not even loosen Berserker's grip on Tosaka. It must be painful for her to even move. Saber swings her sword desperately as blood spills from her mouth. Her face freezes as she sees me run up to Berserker. I smack my bow against his back. The giant does not budge. It must think nothing of me at all. My fingers are numb. What kind of a body does he have if I, the one doing the hitting, have my hands go numb? Huh? I raise my face at Saber's voice. In that instant, my body flies through the air like a leaf. I drop like a piece of trash. Berserker smacked me with that frozen sword. The bow I instantly blocked with is easily smashed, and I'm thrown so far. I writhe in pain. The breaking sound was not from the bow. One of my arms is bent like a spider's. Breathing hurts so much that I want to smash my lungs up. I can't breathe right from the blood coming up my throat. But it doesn't matter. Breathing will just make me pass out. I shouldn't be breathing right now. I get up. Right now, I have to... I run. It's my turn this time. I'll break his arm and save Tosaka. He must have eyes on the back of his head as he swings his sword as if flinging away a bug. I can dodge it. I won't be hit by something swung with a frozen arm. My body is sinking. It must have scraped my leg. Damn it, don't break my leg when you haven't even hit it!
バカな。もういい。離れなさい、マスター。
I can't do that. I won't let Tosuka die. What do I need to save her? A weapon. A blade would be good. At my feet are the remains of the destroyed bow. Above me is Berserker's sword, coming down. I pick up a broken piece. Descending sword. There's no time to think. I channel my magical energy into it. I easily succeed at strengthening it, but the sword comes down. The broken piece is totally smashed this time. My body, that should have dodged the blow, collapses, so there was no meaning in strengthening such a broken piece. If I am to do it again, I have to do it from the very beginning. Nothing should be impossible. If there's a model, anyone can imitate it. So I have to repeat the foundation, composition, work, experience, time, and... The giant turns. It must have decided to kill this annoying nuisance before Tosuka. Raising my body, I glare at the giant. I have no fear. My mind has already burned up. But behind me... Prepared even for her own elimination, Saber is determined to use her holy sword. Status screen updated. Ah, right, because we learned Berserker's Noble Phantasm. God Hand, 12 labors, a hidden ability. Regenerates automatically even when killed. There's a stock of 11 regenerations. In other words, Berserker needs to be defeated 12 times to be eliminated. Rank B, type anti-personnel Noble Phantasm, range blank, maximum target 1 person. Oh, we had all of his skills already? Alright. Well, we did not get $5 for the upcoming bad end, so we will not be doing it. So, don't use it! The wind unravels. I start to see the golden sword in Saber's hands. The one that must not be used. The sword I told her not to use under any circumstances. I snap. It makes the last rope holding me snap. My left hand is burning. One of the command spells disappears.
どうしてもうこれしかないではないですか、シロ。
I don't know. I don't know anything about that. All I know is that you'll disappear if you use that. I won't allow that. And I can't forgive myself for not being able to let her use her sword freely, and for not being able to save Tosuka myself. Saber falls to her knees. Just releasing the sword gets her like that. You can't use that sword in your condition? So wait. If you can't use that sword, I'll make one that you can use.
現実で叶わない相手なら想像の中で勝て。自身が勝てないのなら勝てるものを幻想しろ。
With that said, it's obvious. That's the only thing I can do. So make it. Make something that will not lose to anything. Always imagine the strongest. Imagine the best imitation that will deceive everybody, even yourself. It is not difficult at all. It is not impossible. From the beginning, this body was a magic circuit specialized for this purpose alone. I spring up. My whole body is burning and my left hand feels like it's on fire.
あの剣は私の。
Saber's voice is filled with blank amazement. She is staring at what I'm holding, which should not exist here. Does the sword have a will of its own? The golden sword does not stop, and as if pulled toward it, slashes through the giant's arm. Tosuka falls with the arm that was grabbing her, and the sword that cut through his arm shatters like glass. All the blood in me regurgitates. But there's no problem there. The sword broke. That is impossible. If I imitated that sword, it cannot be broken. It broke because it was not sufficient. My image of it fell short of the real sword. His eyes stare at me. The giant sword is swung to really kill me this time. I don't care about that. He's not my opponent. For Emiyashiro, there was only one opponent. The sword just now wasn't perfect. The unbreakable sword broke because there was a flaw in the assumptions. If I am to duplicate it, I can not only duplicate its shape, I must also reproduce the maker. I hear a gasp. In front of me is the axe sword swung like a storm and a defending sword that is being made. I don't know if I'm desperate, but I'm blocking the attack with the sword in my hand. But that's none of my business. What I need to do now is make this real. That is a mistake as well. Emiyashiro is not made for fighting. Your fight is a mental fight, a fight with yourself. I know that without being told. What I must do is simple. I concentrate. I am challenging myself. No deviation or compromise is allowed. Judging the concept of creation. Hypothesizing the basic structure. Duplicating the composition material. Imitating the skill of its making. Sympathizing with the experience of its growth. Reproducing the accumulated years. Excelling every manufacturing process. Now, I bind the illusion and make it a sword. The giant howls. The sword blocks the numerous blows, smashing madly. But this is it. I'm tossed away. As soon as my consciousness returns, the sword must have left everything in my hands. I am easily thrown away by the attacks I was easily blocking until now. The senses in my arms are already gone. My wrist is about to rip off as I can see the red meat. My legs won't move. All my muscles must have stopped working. I can't stand up. I made the sword that surpasses Berserker, but that's all. As I am only a maker, I cannot handle the sword. A shadow engulfs me. He must know who he needs to kill first now. Berserker pursues me like the wind and swings his sword. But his sword is deflected. As I stand there in blank amazement, I notice another hand over my hand. The air shakes violently. The giant launches an attack with all his might to destroy everything. But just before that, I hear her voice closer than anything. If Berserker attacked me like a gust, Saber must have rushed to me like a gale. Having rushed to me, Saber turns around and... The sword of rock breaks. A flash of the golden sword smashes the giant's axe sword, slashes into the hard body, and... If the shape is similar, the ability must be similar as well. The golden sword digging deep into Berserker engulfs the giant's body from the inside. But that's only for an instant. The light disappears and silence returns to the forest. Strength departs from my body. The body that was so hot starts to cool down. The sword is disappearing from the tip. I watch it absent-mindedly. We stand next to each other, holding the same sword until it disappears completely. wind blows through the forest clearing. Neither the howling that shook the ground nor the blows that cut the air remain now.
それが貴様の剣か、セイバー。
The undefeatable giant becomes motionless and says so in a deep voice, gazing at the knight that defeated him.
これはカリバーン。王を選定する岩の剣。永遠に失われた私の剣。ですが。
今のは貴様の剣ではなかろう。それはその男が作り上げた幻想に過ぎん。
Saber nods quietly.
所詮はまがいもの。二度とは存在せぬ剣だ。だが、しかし。
Berserker's chest splits open. Slowly. From the wound made by that light, he crumbles away like sand.
その幻想も侮れぬ。よもやただの一撃でこの身を7度滅ぼすとはな。
He puts no emotion into his dying words. The mad warrior follows his role until the very end, and his existence disperses as if fading into the air. I feel dizzy. It must be the cost of using such excessive magic. My blood that ran wild is crushing my brain with too much oxygen. And on top of that, I have a headache like my head is splitting open. It's because the enemy has disappeared, and the thing numbing my pain has disappeared. The dizziness and the headache come at me as if to make up for what has accumulated.
シロ。
Saber supports my collapsing body, but she can't have any energy to spare to care for me.
いや、大丈夫だ。ところどころ骨が折れてるけど、命には別状はない。例の自然治癒も働いてるし、なんとかなる。
何を言うのです。あれだけの投影魔術を使ったのですから、今は休息を取らないと。
いや、けど。
There's someone I have to talk to first.
イリアスフィール。
Saber prepares herself. Ilya is staring at the place where Berserker used to be with empty eyes.
ちょうどいい。何のつもりかは知りませんが、追う手間が省けました。潔く。
ダメだ、セイバー。イリアには手を出さないでくれ。バーサーカーがいなくなったんなら、イリアは。
I stop Saber with my remaining strength. She must not realize we're here. Staring at the ground, Ilya murmurs.
嘘。バーサーカー。死んじゃったの。
She sounds like an abandoned child.
イリア。
I restrain Saber with my hand and quietly call out to her. She must have noticed me from that. Ilya slightly raises her head and... suddenly, falls to the ground like a doll being switched off. I don't know what's going on. I just stare at the girl on the ground. As if to replace her, Tosaka gets up. Berserker's hand has disappeared, and it seems she's finally free. I must have relaxed, seeing Tosaka's safety. I feel like I'm about to faint, but I can't whine like that. Even though we had defeated Berserker, we're still in the forest. We have to push our wounded bodies and get out of this forest now. I look up at the dawning sky. The town is far away, and I cannot find any uninjured allies nor any place on my own body that's not hurt. But still, we made it to the morning. The night I was prepared not to live through. After driving off the greatest enemy, we leave the winter forest. And that is the end of day 11. Oh my god, that was hype, wasn't it? Ooh, I was excited to get to this. But I do believe that is where we're gonna call it for today. So let me see what's in store for next week. Day 12 is... Day 12 is pretty chill, which is fair. They could really use some recovery after all of that. So, thank you to everybody who stopped by. Next week, like I said, we're doing day 12. Should be pretty chill. Tomorrow, we are doing the big story event that's going on in Star Rail. So, I hope to see you all then.